Hi, I'm Chris Roselli.
And I'm Samantha DiPiano. Welcome to Western Window, the show made for you by students at Western Washington University.
In today's Western Window, we'll find out how Western educators and alums are making a difference in one rural community. We'll go on a puzzle hunt across campus. We'll check in with the Western cybersecurity team, and we'll find out more about some very special cows on campus.
So stay with us as we explore our world through Western Window.
Cybersecurity is often described as an intellectual puzzle that requires rigorous computer detective work. In cybersecurity competitions, teams try to defend their computer network against attacks launched by a red team. Professionals in the industry who know a thing or two about how cybersecurity works. Competing against schools such as the University of California, Berkeley, Rochester Institute of Technology, and the University of Washington, Western's cybersecurity team is dedicated to excelling in this important and growing field.
There are constant, untargeted attacks that are being launched against everything that is publicly accessible.
Our whole communication system is now very much dependent on being able to link computers together, being able to link people together through the internet. Society would be in a mess if we couldn't do that suddenly. So it's important to protect that resource.
The average person is using more and more internet-connected devices every day. So it provides more of a target for hackers, more incentive. If you could imagine someone with their laptop being able to turn off the power to a hospital, it's disastrous. With so many more devices on the network and more malware being written every day, since it's pretty easy to get a computer and write code, anyone can do that. We need more proactive, intelligent security mechanisms. And there aren't enough people to look for and fix those problems. So that's where the push for more security professionals comes from.
I've acted as mentor for the security team for the past 5 years. And the key to that is good leadership in the team. A leader in the team can keep the rest of the team calm, can make decisions and say, here's a problem, let's prioritize our problems that we're facing, so that they can focus.
I really enjoy the community on the team and the amount of work that the other teammates are willing to put in. We meet twice a week, sometimes more than twice a week as the competition nears, and everybody is always willing to go the extra mile to learn more, learn on their own.
There's a pretty heavy focus on team communication, since there are lots of different parts to the competition. Not one person can do anything entirely, so people need to specialize. But those different topic areas rely on each other.
It's the Pacific Rim's Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. 2 years ago, our team won the regional competition and went on to the national competition, where they came in third or fourth, somewhere around that, around the middle of the pack. The students are placed in a situation where they are trying to defend a computer system, a network of computers, which is being attacked by very, very competent professionals. Their attackers are doing everything they can to deceive them and break into their system, and the students have to stay calm and just keep their minds on what they're doing.
In this industry, we have a distinction that we make between different kinds of hackers. The black hat hackers are those who have no moral scruples. There are white hat hackers who are ethical, and these people will not hack someone else's network without their permission.
They look for vulnerabilities in other people's software or their network systems.
Well, I have always had an interest in hacking and things like that. I watched the movie Sneakers and the movie Hackers within a week of each other my freshman year of high school. I found all the characters very relatable. They looked like me and they talked like me. I think it was that like, oh, you know, I get made fun of for being a computer nerd and people tell me I'm going to be a criminal, but no, look at these skills, they're actually useful, like you can actually help people with these skills.
Really, the more people we can get involved, the better. That's why they have this competition, is to attract people into this field.
There's a lot of interest in this across the country. Smaller schools can compete potentially just as well as larger schools. If your team members can do the job, they can win.
2 years ago, the deadly Oso landslide rocked the small town of Darrington, Washington. In an effort to revitalize the town, local and regional educators and policymakers are developing a cutting-edge science and technology education program that capitalizes on the town's natural assets and experience.
When you have a natural disaster, that local community and youth are susceptible to increased risks of suicide, mental health disorders, depression for 3 to 5 years afterwards. Youth that are connected with the natural environment and place have more resilience and more able to avoid pitfalls of drug abuse at home, poverty, gives them something to fall back on and say, this is me, and have more resilience in life. After the landslide happened, a group was put together by Mayor Dan Rankin as well as Senator Murray of national and local conservation and recreation advocate groups. And they would come up to Darrington and we would discuss how they could help out Darrington. A lot of their ideas were great. It was based on boosting tourism, increasing infrastructure. But what we noticed in these conversations, there was a lack of opportunity for local youth to participate.
How do you compete with a small rural school district with larger communities and larger urban centers that have so many different programs? And so we took a long look at it. It was actually a short look. What do we got? We have the natural environment.
About 2 years ago, the opportunity opened up to form a partnership between Tesla STEM High School and Darrington Middle School. We wanted to deal with two overriding issues. One, which is nature deficit disorder, which is the idea of getting our students out to Darrington where they can learn about the environment and get comfortable about being outdoors. And the other was dealing with the digital divide issue, which is a real problem in rural communities, because not having the ability to have a certain level of technology skills can eliminate students from certain career opportunities, especially in the STEM fields.
We're set to get some sensors from Snohomish County donated, and there's seismic sensors developed for a similar instance like the landslide that happened, Oso landslide. So how do you really take a disaster like that and empower youth to understand?
Not all STEM schools, I'd say a smaller number, have this sort of place-based focus as well. So in Darrington, you're recovering from a major natural disaster. So a STEM school that focuses on how you help prepare for and are prepared for natural disasters is probably a really good focus, for example, for a place like Darrington, for obvious reasons. While somewhat fraught with the emotional aspect of growing up in a community that's been affected like that, also, again, lend more relevance to why you're learning that. And that's often what students ask is, why am I learning this material?
It's really sad that a disaster has to create that momentum, but that's the momentum that you need when you have limited resources and limited human resources to make ideas reality.
The benefit to the rural communities of partnering with a suburban school is that the suburban school has the weight to be able to bring in resources to the rural communities. We have a network well established. We have funding sources. We have equipment that we bring to Darrington so that Darrington can do these things. We had, I think on both sides of this, some real anxiety about how the first day was going to go, the interaction of kids from two very different cultures. But kids are kids, they really do adapt very, very quickly to changing circumstances. And that first day, I've been teaching for 31 years. I think it was the greatest day that I've had in my teaching career.
Folks that want their kids, or the kids that have a passion or an interest in outdoor education and environmental learning and recreation, if they want that to be a part of their life, this is a destination school.
We can, through this partnership and through what the students are doing and through what Oak is doing with GPI, is we can brand the Darrington School District as one of the first, if not realistically, certainly the first in Washington State, of a rural STEM middle school.
What's a puzzle hunt? Well, think of a scavenger hunt with puzzles. Competing in a puzzle hunt is a great way to stretch your mental muscles, bond with your teammates, and have a ton of fun. And all you need to play is a few teammates, creative thinking, and a smartphone.
I always wanted to create something in Bellingham that would be like the Ski to Sea, but that would, instead of having the bronze, would have the brains.
The basis of the puzzle hunt was that we wanted all these people to be able to go around and solve puzzles as teams.
That would require lots of different disciplines, like the Ski to Sea race has lots of different talents, physical talents. They had to have a smartphone. They had to scan the smartphone to get access to a puzzle, and then when they finished solving the puzzle, they had to enter the code words that they had solved into the smartphone to stop the clock. And we thought at first, if we can, it's our first try, if we can get 30 people to come, that'll be good. And of course, we were really surprised.
Nearly 350 people registered for this event and showed up, and the system worked. And so it's been absolutely mind-boggling here. Everyone was on their phones, and I clicked go, and then everyone's phones got the first message, and they all looked up and were like, okay, and everyone dispersed at the same time. It was amazing.
So amazing.
People were just really engaged. People thought it was really, really fun. That was the big thing.
It was so fun.
Yeah, I remember the whole day quite vividly. There's a lot of technical challenges that arise when you suddenly want to time how long it takes someone to solve this puzzle. How do you kind of enforce the rules? How do you disable people from cheating and things like this? And so I looked at the problem and sort of thought, oh, this would be a cool thing to build where people could use their phones, and there could be a server involved, and it could all be run on this system where everything can talk.
I thought it would be fun, but I didn't think it would be as fun as it was. And I was surprised by how creative the puzzles were.
My team, we were made up of a design major, a music and education major, a math major, linguistics, and then another math and physics major. So we had people from all across the board.
And part of the idea was to get people who are not math majors or math oriented to get into the sort of fun part of mathematics, which is the puzzle solving.
My name is Helen. I'm a freshman.
I'm Pauline. I'm also a freshman.
We're on the same team, the Math Friends Forever.
Phase 1 was the music-related puzzle.
Phase 2 was the quotation one. It was a humanities-based, which made sense because it was right next to the humanities building. So we had a bunch of different quotes. The quotes were just blank lines.
Phase 3, we had, we were given this sheet, like an 8x8 square, that we had to fold into a 4x4 square that was double-sided. And we kind of struggled with that one, but we did it eventually.
We had to get a hint on that one because it was pretty complicated. Phase 4 was based on a digital clock. So you know how a digital clock is made up of like all those little dashes? Each segment was considered like its own entity, and then we had to do that to form different numbers that when flipped upside down became a letter. And so that was really nifty because you end up with like 3700 something or other, and it ends up being flipped over to form Google. I think they were all hard in their own way, but they were all really fun, which was nice. They weren't like hard in a frustrating way, but like hard in a fun way.
I think the highlight of the day was like getting the answer, specifically like that last 5 minutes of getting the answer on each puzzle because it was really rewarding.
But I'm really hoping that more faculty will participate because there were only 2 teams this past year, and it was so much fun. I think people would really enjoy doing it.
You don't need a big group either, just like grab a couple friends and put a team together. It's not a big competitive thing, you just are there to have fun and solve puzzles.
Yeah, it definitely felt more cooperative than competitive. You don't have to know math, do it.
Everybody truly can collaborate on these puzzles. They're so broad, and there's an entrance for everybody on that team to shine, and that just makes me really happy.
Officer Todd Osborn is an upbeat cop who takes his job very seriously and understands that creating personal connections allow us to work together towards a common goal, providing a secure and accessible education. This is a story of what it's like to be a university police officer and how Osborn is working to help make a difference in people's lives.
We try to be a presence on campus. We try to listen. We try to look for things. But really, we rely on a lot of things coming from the community. And most police work is reactive in nature, but we also try to be proactive and be out there and be in front of issues and sort of, nip things in the bud before they get out of control. I was a student here at Western, and it's just something that I didn't really ever grow out of. A lot of kids want to be a police officer or a firefighter or an astronaut. I just never grew out of wanting to be a police officer. I didn't really grow out of wanting to be an astronaut either, but I'm really not that good at math, so here I am. I think like any cross-section of the population, you have people who like the police, people who don't like the police, and people who are indifferent.
Hello. Would you like a donut?
Right now, in 2016, public perception is a big issue for police departments all over the United States. We're fortunate at Western that we're a little bit different here. We have a very good relationship with the campus community, and we work hard to make sure that we are professionals and that we are, serving the community in a way that lets everyone know that they're respected and that their rights are important to us. For the most part, we have a very solid relationship with the students, and I find that it's easy for them to talk to us, and it's easy for us to talk to them. I like being a police officer because it's different every day. I interact with a lot of different people on a daily basis, and have an opportunity to make a difference in people's lives from time to time. And it's not, it's not just a job where you sit at a desk and do the same thing every day, and that's really an important thing to me.
If you are interested in the future of music, look no further than the Composers of Western, also known as COWS. This group of passionate students performs, directs, and creates chamber music, electronic music, and everything in between, each of which debuts for the first time at their performances.
My name is Abraham Nurkowitz. I'm from Mount Vernon, Washington, and I am a composition major in the music department at Western Washington University. Composers of Western is a concert put on once a quarter by the composition department at Western. It features student composers with original compositions played by students in the concert hall. My string quartet is called Father's Lament. I wrote it as a sight reading assignment for the wonderful Friction Quartet from Los Angeles. They came up and did a concert series with us and did a sight reading session with the composition department. And I started out writing it with this melody that I just kind of really liked it, and so I kept going with it and wrote like a counter melody, and pretty soon I had enough pieces that I could call it a string quartet. I call it Father's Lament because for a long time I didn't have a title, but by the time I came to turning it in, I didn't want to call it Thing for Strings. At the time I was listening to a song by Eric Whitacre called When David Heard. The text is about the Battle of Galilee, and when David, the biblical David, heard that his son was slain, and he went up to the tower and wept. I would like to compose in some capacity at least. If I could get paid to compose music, that would be fantastic, and that would be probably my dream job.
My name is Ben Savello. I'm a music composition major and a math minor and a computer science minor. And I'm from Mill Creek, Washington. My friend Cammie Gates, cellist and music education major, she asked me to write a piece for string orchestra. And she put together a group herself, a bunch of string players throughout the department. Really ambitious project, and she's conducting it herself, and so she asked me to write for that, and I was really excited to do so. It's hard writing for a lot of players, and then to get a big ensemble interpreting things the same way. So Cammie did a great job. We met together a lot to talk about the direction to get the piece going, and then she conveyed that to the orchestra. There's hoping that what you're trying to get them to do comes across. There's also hoping that what you've written is even possible or is going to sound the way that you want it to sound. When I write for piano, since I'm a pianist, I usually write those pieces at the piano. For other instruments, especially ones that I don't play, it's really different. I do a lot more research. Yeah, it's hard to say what exactly I'm going to do later, but I would love to keep writing pieces. I like writing concert pieces like these for performance and for the art's sake. I also like writing music for other, like video game scores. I write video game scores. I'd be really interested in writing for film. I hope it's my life now.
Well, that's it for this episode of Western Window.
We'll see you next time as we explore our world at and around Western Washington University.
Western Window is proud to partner with the following student publications. Clipson Magazine is published twice each quarter and includes features, multimedia, and issues that affect lives across the greater Bellingham area. You can find it online at clipsonmagazine.com. The Western Front is the official newspaper of Western Washington University, published by the Student Publications Council and funded by your advertising dollars. The Western Front. Get it first, get it right at westernfrontonline.net. The Planet is Western Washington University's award-winning quarterly environmental publication and the only undergraduate environmental magazine in the United States. Explore The Planet online at planet.wwu.edu.